Here's how to install the new doorknob. So typically on the inside of the door, you're going to have 2 screws. Whether you've got a handle like this or a knob, really they're all the same. So locate the 2 screws on the inside of the door and remove them. Once the screws are out, you can simply just pull the doorknobs off on both sides. They will slide out just like this. The screws were attaching the front side of the doorknob to the back side of the doorknob. Now in some cases, you can just put in the new handle here using the same inside lock assembly. You see you have this square rod, and that just simply goes through the square hole here inside the lock assembly. So you would just line up the new lock and slide it through. However, in this case, I've got an updated lock, it's a smart lock, so I will remove this. So to remove this lock assembly, it's just 2 more screws here on the inside of the door. Go ahead and remove those screws if necessary and pull out the inside lock assembly. In some cases, it will just pull out. You just grab the inside of the lock assembly and wiggle, and sometimes it'll come right out. Other times it's really settled in there and it might need a little bit of leverage. So with my screwdriver here, I'm just going to gently go around the outside here and just give it a little bit of leverage and motivation here. There we go. So now we can remove this old lock assembly and get ready for the new one. Now it's time to install the new lock assembly. Essentially, we're just going to reverse the process. So as you can see here, here's the new one, here's the old one. The square piece that the doorknob goes through is a lot larger on the new one, so we couldn't just use the old assembly, but as you can see, they're very similar, they're very standard. So a lot of these are going to be the same in a lot of cases. So we're just going to put the new lock assembly inside, and we may need a little motivation here depending on how snug it is, so we might have to gently tap it in. Now there's a rounded piece of the lock here. You want to make sure that's facing the door and the strike plate, because when the door closes, this piece is going to push in as it closes. So here we can just push it in. Depending on how snug it is, you might need to tap it a little bit to get it inside of there. But now it's in, we just need to fasten it with screws. Now we can use the same screws from the old lock assembly, or if you have new screws that came with your new lock, you can put those in at this time as well. So I'm going to be using the screws that I had originally, and I want to make sure that is nice and snug. Now at this time, if you did get a new strike plate with it, you could install the new strike plate as well. I'm just going to see if it lines up here. I'm not going to shut it just yet, and it does line up. So I'm not going to replace the strike plate. I'm just going to leave that one as is. Now it's time to install the new doorknob here, and I'll show you that. Inside of the lock assembly, we've got 2 holes here, and then here we have 2 cylinders on the lock, and then you've got the square centerpiece. So the square centerpiece will go through the center of the lock, and then these 2 cylinders will line up on the outside, and we'll just go ahead and push that through. Then we'll flip around to the opposite side here, and we will put the handle in on the back side. So for this handle, it does show you very clearly. You want this piece facing up, and then it will slide right over that assembly piece, and then we will go ahead and secure it with screws. We'll get the screws lined up here, and I'll start them by hand. Now your new doorknob, if you purchased it brand new, will come with everything you need to install it. So it'll have the screws and everything that you need to install it. So I'll get this screw in, and then I will switch over here and get the other one started, and then I'll completely fasten each one of these screws. Now it's the time to put the new doorknob on. It really just depends on what style you get. Some of them might be on already, some might not be. In this case, this one is removable. So on the side here, it's got a little slot here for access to a push pin on the side of the doorknob here. So once it's in place, it will go ahead and that push pin will pop out and it'll snap into place here. And now the doorknob can't pull off. So in order to take this doorknob off in the future, if I want to change it, I got to push this little pin in on the side of the doorknob. I push that in, and then I pull on the handle, and it comes off. So in the future, that's how I will remove this doorknob if I need to for any reason. And that's it. So for this is a smart doorknob with a fingerprint, and I will go ahead and get that all set up. But as you can see, it is in place here, it is working, and that is how you install a new doorknob. Hopefully that was helpful.